I should have a timer. I don't even know where I left off. But anyways, wouldn't you love it if I was done? Like if you came back and I was like, so I'm done. Yeah, the time that you guys were gone, I am done. So thank you very much. I would love that. So I'm doing the shadow areas for her little sort of pajamas. And I'm using my primary colors again, but I'm not going for the warmer red, I'm going for cooler. It's a little bit warmer on the light side, but not that much. It's actually cool, all around cool. Like the last painting I did of my son, I thought about just having a cooler palette for this one. But I want to have some nice, rich areas of color, so we'll see how that goes. But yeah. What's wrong with Liverpool? Ha ha ha. Nothing. What are you talking about? What is wrong with Liverpool? I have to admit, but I was an Arsenal fan. When they were unbeaten. Since they were unbeaten, I've been an Arsenal fan. The Dennis Bergkamp days. That was crazy. It's one of the best football teams in the world. But now Wenger has just lost his mind, and it's a shame. It's a damn shame because it's a wonderful club. But since the final of Istanbul, I've been a huge, because I'm not British, so I have no qualms about liking different teams. So, I have no brand loyalty. So I very much so enjoy the way Liverpool plays now. It's one of the most exciting teams in soccer, in football today. Mo Salah is one of the coolest football players ever. So yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with Liverpool. Nothing. Vamos a la pintura, por favor. Yeah, no football talk. I don't know why. Usually, soccer and painting they don't go together. For some reason, artists are like, could you just fucking shut up about soccer and just keep painting? I'm listening to you on a Saturday morning. I don't want to fucking hear about football. Yeah. For some reason, I am a huge fan. I think I enjoy it at the same level as painting. So I'm sorry, but that's me. That's just me. So for the light side, for all you football haters, for the light side of her pajamas, I'm using the same mixture, but I'm adding just a little bit of white. Just a little bit of white. And I don't want to be too respectful of that edge, that sort of edge I had given the hair, because I don't want my brushstrokes just to barely touch that hair. I want to go, almost like inside that brushstroke also. ¿Usas pincel duro? Sí, uso pinceles de cerda también. Ahorita de pronto uso como para la cara. Lo que pasa es que estas pinturas como son tan pequeñas, los pinceles de cerda dejan unas marcas que se sienten como mucho más agresivas que las marcas de un pincel suave. Entonces trato de usarlas cuando siento que quiero tener esa textura, pero por lo general estoy usando pinceles más suaves, que igual como estoy usando pura pintura, digamos que no se siente como una pintura como estirada, como si estuviera tratando de abarcar un área demasiado grande con mi pintura con un pincel suave, sino que se siente que realmente estoy usando el color, entonces el mismo color le da cuerpo, así sea con un pincel suave. Pero sí, ahorita voy a decir para la cabeza en algunas áreas uso un pincel más duro. So again, I'm using the same mixture, same colors, just adding a little bit of white to that mixture so I can get it a little bit lighter. That doesn't work all the time, but sometimes it works. Like what I'm describing is using the same mixture for light and shadow. It doesn't quite work all the time. In fact, I would say that it probably works less time than when it works. But for this one, I can get closer. I can get pretty close to what I'm looking for if I do that. ¿Qué tipo de pintura estás utilizando? ¿Por tipos marca te refieres o qué será? Si es marca, distintas marcas. Hay es óleo. Bueno, es óleo. Si te referías a eso, es óleo. Y marcas distintas. Sí, yo no pongo mucho problema con las marcas de pintura. How do you avoid when mixing white to get those dirty colors? Yeah, it's not white's fault. No. The thing, what we kind of wrongfully accuse white for is an overuse of white in our part. And it kind of comes from us thinking, in the same way that I said, people sort of demonized black for thinking that its sole purpose was meant to be used in shadows. The same could be said about white. So people unconsciously equate light with white. So if you, like me, have taught for many, many years people how to paint, the way they express what they want to do with color or while they're mixing can give you almost like a perfect sense of how people think, and how people think interferes with what they're doing, in the palette. So many people, when they refer to light, they sometimes blurt out, "Oh, I love that white." They'll say stuff like that, and maybe they say it like if you stop them right there, they correct themselves and they say, "Oh, I'm sorry. No, I meant that light." But the fact that your mind goes straight to that color to interpret light just means that there's a really high chance, really high possibility that when you're working, every time you see something that's light, you're going to wrongfully start equating it with white. And what happens there is that you start abusing that white color every time you think about lightness. Every single time you think about lightness, you're going to say, well, I have to go to my white to lighten that mixture. But what you don't realize, and hopefully this kind of shows here, is that that color is very light too. Yellow is light. The cadmium red is light. And these are actually probably the same value, which is the darkest value. So every time you put some cad red into your mix, that's going to make it lighter. Every time you're going to put some yellow into your mix, that's going to make it lighter. And obviously, every time you put some white into your mix, it's going to make it lighter. But you have to stop thinking that this is your only way to make things lighter. That's very, very limiting. So you have to strip the idea that you have of this color meaning something. It doesn't mean anything. A color doesn't mean anything by itself. It means something when put against other colors. So that's the value of having a palette. So stop thinking about that, and you'll start realizing, and eventually you're going to start noticing that, maybe you can go to your yellow to lighten something. Maybe you can go to your red even to lighten something. If you do that, you'll get less chalkier colors, which are probably what you're referring to as dirty colors. When it lightens, it saturates the color. Yeah, obviously. But if you need, but that's a saturation problem. You're not going to have like a value problem. You're going to have saturation. But you can deal with saturation afterwards. But usually when you sort of muck up your color mixing, is because every time you see something that's light, you're not kind of contextualizing how light it is. You're just equating it with white, with your white. So you have to be... I remember, it happens to all of us. Don't think that, like, for the people that right now I just describe something and you go like, oh, fuck, that's me. Yep, that's me. It happens to all of us. I remember one time I was doing it like crazy in school, and Max just took my white away from my palette. He like scraped it off, and he put it back on, and he put like this pea-sized little bit of white. And I was like, what, are you crazy? And he's like, no, use that. You know, there's more than enough there for you to paint. And the truth is, there probably wasn't enough, but his point was like, I had to try and find alternatives to make something lighter. Parece otra persona en inglés. Sí, de pronto más, pues es que yo hablo es español. más formal en inglés y en español, sí. Buenas, ¿cómo están todos? Ah. Sí, vamos a ver si puedo tratar ¿de qué? De ser más consistente con la expresión y el idioma. Do you ever use Gamsol or turpentine? Yeah, I used it for years, decade. I mean, but I don't like solvents. I don't. I mean, in terms of my own work, I used to, when I came back home from New York, I used to live with my parents, and my room was big enough, but it was still small enough, and I was doing small enough to work on like really big paintings, but I wanted to do a really, really large painting, around like, what was it, over like 10 feet by 10 feet. So, and I was sleeping with this painting, and I was using very traditional mediums, very, very traditional mediums. And my throat, I would have to sleep with my window like cracked open, because my throat was killing me. It was killing me, and it was killing me more so from the solvent than from the other mediums. But you know, everything has medium. Like even a varnish will have everything has solvent. I'm sorry. Even varnish will have solvent in it. So I remember I would wake up and my throat was just, I mean, it felt like on fire. And I was stupid. I didn't stop using any of those things. I kept on painting I eventually did like 2 paintings of that size. And, you know, I wish like the story could stop, would finish by me saying, and from then on I never used solvent. No, I kept using solvent for years after that. But eventually I was like, this is kind of stupid. This is getting kind of stupid. What's the whole purpose of a solvent in my work? And again, you can get those really nice drips, you know, those people that like kind of like this flowy, drippy painting. You can get that. That didn't really interest me, so I was like, so that's not it. You clean your brushes with it, so I was like, okay, but do I have to? What if I just use soap and water? Like, would that be enough? And I realized that yes, that's enough to clean your brushes. And then I said, well, you have to use it. Like if you want to use, let's say more traditional mediums, you have to use solvent so that you cut the body of, for example, the stand oil down. Stand oil has wonderful body, but if you use it, you can't use it straight because it's like molasses. It's like honey. So I started saying, well, yeah, I would have to sacrifice my, using traditional mediums, and I weighed it all, and I did. I said, well, this is worth it. This is not worth just having this crazy ass, sore throat over, and so I stopped using them, and I kind of stopped using them altogether. I replace them with like Liquin, which has Liquin is not perfect, not at all perfect. It has its own solvents in it. It's highly toxic also. It's flammable also. So it's not like it was I went from a great thing. I went from a really terrible thing to like something far better. No. I started using Liquin, and I've stopped. I've been using it for years now, really. And at some point, I was like, what if I use straight paint? I mean, straight paint has oil in it. It already has medium in it. With if you think of the oil in your paints as medium, so what if I use that? What if I use it straight? What am I missing? Well, and again, you have to weigh everything. So, well, I can't glaze. And then I would say, when have I ever glazed? Like, when have I ever truly glazed? And I've never really, really glazed in my life. So I was like, okay, so I would miss glazing, which I don't do. What else? I don't know. So I stopped. I have done, if you kind of follow my work, I have done paintings where I use a wax medium. But again, that's a very traditional medium. It has solvent in it because it has varnish. It has wax, which isn't that bad, but you have to use turpentine, and I use oil with it. So again, these are choices. These are choices made by years of working, after years of working, and just putting everything in a balance and saying, do I really need this with what I want to do today, nowadays? And my answer was no. Like, the benefits didn't outweigh the parts that annoyed me. So I thought, well, just mix paint. What if I mix pure paint? What if I started using just a lot of paint? And I feel much, much more comfortable with that nowadays. So that's my reason. It started off as a health reason, and then it became like a very technical reason also, because I still have to paint. So I had to make a choice, and I feel much more comfortable. Like my right now I'm painting in the apartment I'm living in, and it doesn't smell like paint. It doesn't smell. Before, you used to go into my house and it's like, whoa, the painter lives here. It's like, whoa, that's because Domar varnish is so aromatic, and turpentine can be so aromatic, and it's so volatile that of course it's going to smell like crazy. But nowadays it's just, it's just a house, and that's it. ¿Qué papel utilizas para pintar? Estoy utilizando el papel que viene en la libreta, en las libretas de Moleskine. Y yo no las estoy promocionando. Yo ya dije esto como en otras lives, que a mí no me pagan ellos, no me patrocinan ellos, nada. Solo yo con gusto le doy crédito a un producto cuando siento que es bueno, y ese papel de las libretas Moleskine es muy, muy, muy bueno. La verdad, está hecho como para aguantar que uno le dé muchísimo palo. Qué pena. Qué pena para los que no hablan colombiano. Como para que uno lo agreda mucho y no resiste, es muy, muy resistente. Entonces, sí, uso ese. Sí, o sea, ese lo han usado artistas durante muchísimo tiempo, entonces, o sea, tienen como la tranquilidad de que están usando algo que está hecho como para artistas, digamos. ¿Dónde las consigues? Las consigues en internet, si quieres. Acá en Bogotá las trae, si están en Bogotá, las trae, los importadores son Incanta. Lo que pasa es que terminan siendo súper costosas, como todo en la puerca vida, termina siendo súper costoso. Entonces te valen como 80.000 pesos, cuando en realidad costarían como 60.000 pesos si las compraras directamente. En la página de ellos cuestan como $20. Pero, habiendo dicho eso, son un muy, 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 muy buen producto. No dudo que haya otras libretas que sean suficientemente buenas, pero pues no, pues por lo menos yo no las conozco. Me tengo que poner a probar libreticas a ver. Si me quieren sugerir alguna, buenísimo. So I'm saying that if you guys want to suggest like different, if in your experience, like there's awesome sketchbooks out there that have really cool paper, please suggest, because please like send me a suggestion and I'll try them out. It could be really cool if I can make like videos trying different papers out, and we'll see. ¿Cuántos pinceles he usado? Como 4. So I've used, someone asked how many brushes have I used. So the flat synthetic, round sable, filbert mongoose, and flat, I think it's sort of a bright, because I just bought some more of these very good Da Vinci Maestro 2 brushes, but this one feels like a longer filbert. So if you can see the difference. Look at that. That's new and that's old. It feels a little bit longer. Or maybe I have used all that brush. You know, I have used most of it too. That could be the case. But I need to try it out. Hola, Juan José. Nico, I miss you. Me empezaré a colar en tus clases de dibujo, ¿ok? ¿Todo bien? Who makes that mongoose one? Skoda. It's a brand from Spain, from Barcelona. It's Catalana. Can you talk about how you get good? Oh, I missed that. I'm sorry. I have a teacher who does all his demos on that brown craft paper, probably not the highest quality surface, but it's archival. I don't know how archival, but because craft paper usually tends to be very acidic. But maybe there's a brand that he or she uses to make those drawings that I don't know about. But if it works, fuck it. If it works for what he's doing, you know, for his demos, like who cares if it's archival? I don't like. I know it's a conversation worth having, but I'm not going to change my mind on it, to be quite honest. One of the arguments that people said to me was like, well, you have to be respectful to your clients if you're selling your painting. You know, you want to sell them something that's going to be, that can be there for quite a long time. I get it. Okay, yes. But when you sell something, it doesn't mean that you know, something has to be considered eternal. Like, there's dinners that rich people go to that are far more expensive. You know, the plate of food is far more expensive than our paintings. So, and that food is gone in an hour. So that took them an hour to like go through their food. There's cars that are expensive that, you know, people that collect cars, they don't even turn them on the fear of something, you know, an part kind of getting used, and then they have to go look for parts, for vintage parts, and then that whole mess. You know, things are meant to be used. That's my philosophy in life. Like, things are meant to be used. Things are meant to be enjoyed. And if I start thinking about the person that I'm supposedly going to sell this to, while I'm painting, then my priorities aren't straight. That's my whole point. Like, I understand the argument, like, and I honestly feel it's not worth having an argument, because I get it. It's kind of dumb to have an argument with me about the more technical aspects of painting, because I've painted like that for years. For over 10 years, I've painted like traditionally. I get it. Like, I totally get it. But I just don't feel that should be a priority when we're painting. That's just what I feel, honestly. You know, and if you feel like, well, you know, that's kind of, it's shitty of you to then actually sell something afterwards without telling people that this is probably not going to last. And my answer would be like, well, what if I tell people? What if is that it? Because that can be easily worked out. You just kind of give people a contract when you sell something, and you tell them, look, you're buying this as is, understanding that this is going to change. This is going to age in the same way you age. So if you buy this, understanding that this is going to happen, and you sell something to somebody and have them sign this and tell them, this is going to live alongside you and grow alongside you and change alongside you. And if people are willing to do that, then perfect. What's the problem? What would be the problem there? But these papers will disappear. I said, you will disappear as well one day. Yes, I will. Yeah. We will all disappear. And if they haven't disappeared and I haven't sold them, you can bury with my paintings. That's totally fine. They have this little oil paper that's a little expensive, but you don't have to prime it. I'm sure it's not archival, but it's kind of fun. Just one less customer. That's totally fine. That's totally fine. Yeah. Like we have to think of ourselves first, and I'm sure that the person that says one less customer here, but I've sold paintings for 20 years, and the paintings are perfectly fine. I've been able to see paintings, the paintings I've done that have decades of being made, and they are perfectly fine. They're as fresh as the day I made them. So, but if if something like that, the philosophy I have on archival qualities, is something that you don't share with me, that's totally fine. I hope you can still enjoy what I do, and you can tell me, okay, I love how you paint, but I don't, I'm never going to buy your paintings. I am totally cool with that. I am totally cool with that. As long as you enjoy what we're doing here, that's totally fine. So, I want to keep the face for the end. I want to keep the head for the end. Ballpoint pen drawing on the wall fade pretty quickly. Yeah. Everything fades. It's all a matter of perspective, of the perspective you have in life. How long is it supposed to last? Millions of years? Like how long would it be fine for it to last? How many generations in your family? For how long? It doesn't. I don't know. It's one of those things that in life you make a choice, and in my life I've made the choice, and it doesn't matter to me, honestly. It really doesn't. I enjoy painting. I enjoy this moment way too much for it to be affected by that thought. So I love what you paint, but I probably can't afford it. If you ever see me in your life, just ask me if I can just give you something for free, and I will. Whomever asked that question, whomever said, oh, I'm sure I can't afford it, I'll give you something for free, don't worry about it. It doesn't, I'll be sure to give you something that lasts forever. I'll paint differently so that you can have that forever. So now I'm going for this little kind of funny hat. What do you think about postmodern art? Postmodern art. I enjoy wherever art comes from if it moves me. So, it could be a performance or an installation, an in situ installation, or it can be ephemeral art, or it can be sort of a collective experience, or it can be a social experiment, or it can be anything that if it moves me and I enjoy it, that's my measure for it. So I think it's totally fine. I don't believe that art should remain static ever, 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 ever. I think the most wonderful thing of art is to question itself, to question everything around it, to question our intentions, to question the market that surrounds it, to question everything, every single aspect of it. So I love that it's in motion all the time. And I'm somebody who respects wherever it comes from. And it's funny because I enjoy it and I respect it, but my choice is to make paintings. My choice is to make these very, very traditional works of art that many people deem as worthless now, obsolete. They don't have impact, voice, that they ran its course, that there's no conceptual venues that haven't been explored historically. What else have they said about painting? Yeah, but that's my choice. So, and I feel totally cool about it. I always say kind of jokingly that, you know how before there used to be these debates at the Whitney Museum where they would confront like two people from, two different beliefs. There was usually someone who was more traditional than the other person, in the hopes of just creating this debate. I'm not interested in defending painting. I'm not. I mean, I could go into a debate and the person that I would be debating with could tell me 1,000 reasons why I shouldn't paint. And I would just stand up and say, you know what, you're probably right. But if you excuse me, I have to go home and paint. I don't care. I really don't. This is something that I do. If somebody deems it like that it doesn't have value, then that's fine. I'm not painting for that person. I'm painting for myself. So why would I care about that person? And why would that person think that that their job is to have, to change my mind on something that I love? It doesn't make sense. Like, who am I harming by painting my daughter with like a silly hat? It makes no sense. It makes absolutely no sense. That's why I don't mean to be disrespectful, but I don't think those things are worth debating. Like somebody tells me, well, you should respect your tradition because you're not thinking properly, because you're being stubborn and you're being selfish. Because, like I said, the argument I always hear is like, you were able to enjoy Rembrandt in a museum. Why would you deny people the chance of enjoying your work centuries from now? First of all, I'm no Rembrandt, so let's start there. So that one is very easy to like. Second of all, why would I ever feel that? I think it's such a like sort of delusional thing to think like to have this feeling of grandeur to say, I can't deny the thousands of people that are going to flock to a museum to see my work 500 years from now. I have to think about them, because if I don't think about them, who will? That is so stupid. That is so stupid. I don't think about those things. I don't. And if you think they're valuable, that's totally fine. Like, I respect you for that. That's your life. Lead your life the way you believe you should lead your life. I don't. Who knows how kids are going to be consuming art 500 years from now? My God, how dare we think that we know how people are going to understand art and understand paintings, 200, 300 years from now? What if they get scanned and you get, 500 years from now, what you're seeing is like, you're never going to see an original painting again, but you're seeing some sort of hologram or some sort of weird shit because maybe all that stuff got destroyed or they have in some vaults or whatever. And now they have these paintings like these Rembrandts that they scanned in and you can actually touch, and you can, it's not a museum where you get guards ready to tase you if you walk right next to a painting, which is so stupid and I hate it. And where you can't take photographs, where art has become such a thing that's elitist thing. It's for the few. Like paintings are for the few. You can respect it, but from far away. The Mona Lisa is underneath like the probably the thickest bulletproof glass that human beings can make. It is so ridiculous. It is so stupid. So stupid. Hopefully, my kids, if not their kids or next generation after that, can enjoy art and can understand that it's something that is close to their lives, not something that is underneath, like behind closed doors, that rich people have to finance. Art was meant to be part of your life, not secluded from your life. So like I said, it's not one thing. I don't believe, and I think all of this has to do with the same. Like my position on not caring that much about being archival, it's not negligence on my part and just turning my back on like technical aspects of painting that have been proven by centuries. It's not that, please. It's a bigger thing. It's something that's far bigger than that, I feel. But again, if you're not, if that doesn't float your boat, that's fine, and if you want to keep doing paintings with rabbit skin glue and some sort of, half gesso medium, because you can't use, if you want to be traditional, you can't use lead white as a primer nowadays. You gotta look for something else. Then just do it. If you're using universal primers on linen, if you're fine with like art stores charging you, crazy amounts for like primed linen, that's totally cool. If you want to use crazy expensive paint, totally cool. But, what does that guarantee? Like, what does that guarantee? I made this ugly-ass painting that's going to last forever. Oh, thank you. Humanity thanks you. That is, God bless you. Fuck. Great. We have to look at that forever. Great. Thanks. I'd much rather have something that's beautiful and it has a short life. And, you experience it and that's it. There is something fascinating about that. Like that total eclipse last year. Like people are going crazy, and I'm sure it's going to be a really incredible experience for the people that were able to see it. But, it just happened for a very specific, period of time. And that's cool. There's certain things are meant to have that lifespan, so. Fuck, I'll promise I'm going to get to that head in like a little bit. In the next 4 hours. I promise. I'm kidding. Nah. Let me kind of do this. I was able to do this far quicker when I was just blocking it in. It's so dumb. We get so dumb when we say like, okay, now I'm going to paint it. It's like we clench our butt cheeks and we start painting like we're somebody else. Fuck. When I was doing the color thing, I didn't care. I was just flying, putting color down, and I didn't. Now I'm like, oh fuck! It's a little cap. It's a little hat in the shape of a cat. I got to be careful. God, we're so much bolder when we don't care. Tam Olark. Okay, that I have no idea what you're saying. Tam Olark Hangi Boya Kulangerson. I just murdered your language probably, but sorry about that. Are you working warmer and lighter across the hat? Yes. Yes, there is a warmer, I mean, there's like subtle variations within that hat. It's so complex, really. For something so dumb looking, it's really, really kind of rich in terms of how the color temperature changes and the hue changes. So at least it's kind of like fun to paint in that sense. But yeah, I think I made a base. I made something cooler on this side and then a little bit warmer on the other, just a little bit, really. But let me get those. I'm going to try to do this a little bit quicker because it's insane how much time I've lost. I start talking about something, like stuff that's paint related to paint, but not related to this painting. And I sometimes look at the comments, and some people are like, oh, for fuck's sake, just paint. We're paying you to paint. God damn it. He's talking about fucking life again. Shut him up. Just paint, monkey. Paint! I honestly, I can't. I have to do both at the same time. Oh, fuck, I forgot about this light. I have to. That's just me. I never understand painting, outside of my life. So that's my problem. So I have to speak about life in order to paint. But yeah, I haven't been the most efficient today, honestly. No, habla también. Cool. What do you say you used to prime your sketchbook pages with? I'll show you in the end. It's called Pebeo. I think it's an Italian brand. So Pebeo, Pebeo, Pebeo. And I use a product that they make, which is called Bindex, which is pretty much, and if you understand what it is, you can buy anything that just does the same thing. Brands are dumb. If you know what it is, then you just buy whatever equivalent you can find, in your area, and that's totally fine. So what it is just a transparent acrylic medium. It's a binder, so it's the medium for the acrylic. Your acrylic paints, if you paint with acrylics, they are pigment in an acrylic binder. That's why they are called acrylics. Or oil paints are pigments that, the thing that binds them is oil. It can be linseed oil traditionally, or safflower oil, or, other people use other oils. But so if you just buy whatever you can find that says acrylic binder or medium, acrylic medium, transparent acrylic medium. And in a sense, like, it could be gesso, it could be acrylic gesso. If that's all you have, it can be acrylic gesso. It's just that it doesn't have to be. And for example, if, like me, you want to do a drawing and then just put that thing on top without even fixing the drawing, without putting fixative on your drawing, then you can, and it's totally fine. Let me do at least the eyes, and then I'll go to the head. How am I doing on time? I should have a timer. Next time I do this, I'm going to put a timer right next to it, and I'm going to try to push myself to work a little bit quicker, because today, maybe it's because it's Saturday, but Saturday morning, but I'm working like crazy slow. This is so slow. I have to work quicker. Primero, ¿no arruga el papel? Sí sé. Yo lo que les he comentado es que el papel es frágil, pero también es muy muy fuerte. O sea, es una superficie que aparentemente es frágil. Inicialmente se presenta como algo muy frágil, o sea, que tú lo coges con las manos y lo puedes romper fácilmente. Pero el papel tiene como una vida también como súper sólida. O sea, el papel se puede deformar y si tú le das tiempo, él vuelve y se conforma a su estructura original. Entonces, nosotros normalmente pensamos en el papel como algo súper, súper frágil. Y sí, sí lo es, digamos, inicialmente. Pero si tú le das tiempo y lo cuidas, el papel vuelve a la estructura que tenía antes. Entonces, ¿a qué me refiero? Si le echas el Bindex, en este caso, ese imprimante acrílico transparente que yo uso, él sí se va como a deformar un poquitico, no se arruga así como loco, o sea, no se encorva así terrible, pero después de nada, de media hora de secado, si tú lo prensas o le pones un poquito de peso, él vuelve a ser súper plano. O lo que puedes hacer normalmente es equiparar como las fuerzas. Lo que eso quiere decir es que si tú le echas el imprimante por un lado, sencillamente se lo echas por el otro cuando ya esté seco y el papel vuelve como a retomar su forma. Y como es en una libreta, y como la libreta tiene como una estructura porque está cosida y tiene un lomo, eso también ayuda a que no se deforme por completo, a que digamos que las esquinas no se deformen. Pero si quieres trabajar en papel y no tienes la libreta, pero consigues un buen papel, móntalo como si fueras a montar un papel de acuarela, lo humedeces, le pones cinta, lo pones encima de una tabla, le echas el imprimante y dejas que seque y pintas y después lo refilas, le cortas la cinta, literal como si estuvieras haciendo una acuarela y perfecto, no le pasa nada. You unfortunately can't hide the chat. I hope Instagram fixes this soon. I know, it's so annoying. And I'll try to find a better place for... I always want you guys to see my palette while I'm working. That's the sole reason that I have this kind of longer setup. And because I have to also... the video is meant to be vertical. So that's why, the possibilities are limited also on my end. But we'll try to find better ways to do this, I promise. Okay, for fuck's sake. Finally, I can do a head. Holy shit. Oh no, see? I missed that part too. Fuck me. Let's do this little area and then we can go. I need more yellow too. Can you talk about what you get good edge control edges? I hope you guys have seen it. Gregory Manches is an illustrator, like a very, very traditional illustrator that I used to look at a ton in school. He's still like a fantastic painter. He has a post on a blog. I forget the name of the blog. Something Mud. Maybe someone knows about that. But Gregory Manches does this study on edges that is crazy, crazy complete. It's like he describes so much what you can do with edges and different sort of edges. Because to me, I'm very simple. I'm like, oh, there's hard and soft edges. That's about it. Muddy colors, yes. So look at that blog post, Gregory Manches. Just put Gregory Manches edges, and you'll go to Muddy Colors. And which is a fantastic blog, by the way. And he does this crazy sort of investigation on edges. And it's super, super cool. So I invite everyone to see that. I think he can express that far better than what I'm doing in my painting. But because I usually go with soft and hard. That's all I think about when I do edges. And I'm very simple-minded. So I want harder edges when I want my attention to be centered on that shape, and softer edges when I want it to be, like for example this. I'll show you a dumb little example. That was a dark shape. Like this was a dark shape that was running off to the side. So when I was painting it, I said, I don't want such a sharp edge because there's so much contrast. It's probably the highest contrast in my image is right there, right now. It goes light, very dark, light. So this place in my painting is going to be I almost don't want that much attention on that little area. So what I did, kind of unconsciously, but I was very aware of it, I just dragged my dark on top of that light very lightly, so I get that softer edge right there. See that? I hope you guys can see it. Maybe in the end you can spot it. So I did that little edge, so I don't get that hard edge just going off to the side, because I don't want it. I don't need such contrast and such just hard edges, such attention going there right now. So anyways, so now I'm gonna go for the face. I'm gonna go for that. There's no real darks in there. It's very sort of mid-tone. I'm gonna go for those first. Very cool. They're also very, very cool. So we'll see how that goes. Because I usually I'm very, again, I had very traditional training, so I still think from dark to light most of the time. Most of the time, at least with form, and in form in terms of what I look for in the body. But there are these little moments that are darker. Let me see. So I have a darker mixture here, and I'm going to try to keep darker also. So these are my primary colors, but with cadmium red, and these are primaries with alizarin. So I'm keeping them sort of separate. But I want this to be a little greener. So if I want my puddle a little greener, if I looked at it and if it's a little greener, if it was a little too red or orange, and I say I need it a little greener, you just grab the two other colors that you have in your primary colors, and you just paint it a little bit green. Add a little more green. Even if it's the face, I have to remember to still be bold about the way it's being painted, because it would look so stupid if I started to pull out like a tiny little brush just because I got to the face, which I'm going to do in like 10 minutes, but see, this is silence means I was concentrating, but I have to learn how to. If I want to stream better, I have to learn how to talk while I'm painting. Ese es que Gregory Menches Above the Timberline. Yeah, sí, ese es él. Es muy bueno, muy, muy, muy bueno. Se los recomiendo muchísimo. Pues a mí me encantaba cuando joven y todavía lo respeto un montón. Se me hace que es un genio ilustrador. Así también muy, muy, muy vieja escuela, pero muy, 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 muy bueno. So I want to spot the dark of the eyes, but I have to remember to not work around those darks. I have to make them part of the socket. So I want to mark them so I can sort of find my way. I don't get lost with my drawing right there, but I still have to, I still have to be kind of bold while I'm painting. Because I don't want it to feel like super tight just because I got to the eyes. It's kind of dumb. Lo haces perfectamente, hablar y pintar. Uy, pero es tenaz, es súper difícil. Yo trato como de fingir que no. Buah, es súper difícil. Pero ya me tengo. What's your opinion on comic books? I went to school to do comic books. I went to school for cartooning. I wanted to do comic books. I was going to either go to the Joe Kubert School or to SVA. And my dad was like, well, it's New York. Why don't you go to SVA? But I was adamant about doing comic books. And my first year, I was, what I wanted to do was comic books, and I suddenly met all the people that actually were good at doing comic books. And I was like, oh shit, I'm not really that good at this. I thought I was good, and I thought I saw myself as somebody who was good at it, but I wasn't good. And some of those people were like crazy, cool, and talented. And they were actually better at, than me at telling a story, like narrating a story visually, like visual storytelling. I just wanted to do cool characters, and so I was actually very ignorant about what it meant to be a comic book artist. So I was very confused, and my second year I didn't really know what to do, and I thought about changing my major to illustration, and I went to a painting class. And I didn't know who I was picking when I was picking my class. And I happened to pick Steve Assell's class without knowing. It was like, okay, this class is on Mondays. And it's what do they call it? Studio class, a workshop class? I don't remember how they referred to it back in school. And I remember coming in and just first class, I've told this story time and again, but first class, Steve was painting. First class, he was already painting. And I just sat down, I saw him paint, and I was like, okay, this is it. This is my life. That's why I'm going to love Steve for the rest of my life, because he's the first person that I saw do exactly what I wanted to do with my life. And just by, he didn't have to speak. He didn't say anything. I didn't know him. I didn't know how good he was. It was out of pure luck and ignorance that I got into his class. And I saw him paint, and he changed my life. And that's it. That was magic for me. So I started with comic books. I realized I sucked, but I still... if I have to be 100% honest, I would never be ashamed to admit that, I read comic books or anything like that, please. But I don't follow it anymore. I follow the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but and I follow video games because I really like them, and now I suck because now I'm older. But I love that I can totally, play something with my son, and I can get what he likes. I can get why kids are playing Fortnite or PUBG or any, whatever they're playing, or Destiny 2. A quick thing on video games. I played Destiny 2 with my nephew, with my 14-year-old nephew, it's some time ago, and they bullied me. These fucking kids, fuck them. They were bullying me, and I felt bad. I actually felt bad. I'm going to be totally honest. I told them, we were playing, we were trying to do a raid, and I had to tell them that I had to go, that I had some stuff to do. But the reason I left is because they were making me feel like shit. So fuck them. Fuck these 14-year-olds, idiots. I was like, I could beat you. If I saw you on the street, I could beat you. I've probably had more sex than you had, idiots. Stupid idiots. But yeah, so that was me trying to get into video games again with my nephew, and it was terrible. But with Danny, I think she's in the chat, we play Cuphead with Danny. That is a fucking incredible game. That is art. That is pure art. If you guys have never seen Cuphead, and if people think that video games are stupid and dumb and Trump blames them for violence, please look at Cuphead. You'll see what these two brothers and one of the brothers' wives did for that video game.